You're very welcome back to London, and today we are doing an extended version of the Queen Tour of London. Previously we had a version on the YouTube channel where I went to Hyde Park and Freddie's house and a few other places, and today we are going back to the area around where Freddie had his first flats, and that is Holland Road and also further along towards High Street, Kensington. I will also be bringing you to Biba, where Mary Austin worked, and also to the location where Freddie and Roger had their stall. And there'll be a few other things along the way, but for now, let's take that first stop on Holland Road and we take a look at where Freddie was residing in the 70s. So I'm here on Holland Road, and behind me is 100 Holland Road, and this is where Freddie and Mary lived in the early 70s. You might recall, actually, there's a famous photo shoot that they did in the living room here in Holland Road, and if you have an album called Queen in Noose, you might have seen that photo shoot on that cover. And Freddie actually wrote some of Bohemian Rhapsody here, and it's one of their earliest apartments. So this is one of the extra locations on my Queen Tour video. And next up, I'm going to go to another of the apartments that Freddie lived. So here we are on Stafford Terrace, and Freddie lived here on Stafford Terrace in 1976, just before he bought Garden Lodge. He lived here with Mary, and actually one of the pianos that he had here in Stafford Terrace was actually later moved to the Japanese room in Garden Lodge. So let's just take a look at number 12 and see if there's a blue plaque. I'm not sure if there is or not, but really there should be. I was not actually impressed with the fact that 100 Holland Road didn't actually have a blue plaque, because it is quite a famous location due to the fact that Queen had their first photo shoot there. So we'll just take a look now at number 12. And here we are here at number 12 Stafford Terrace, where Freddie and Mary lived. No blue plaque, unfortunately, but quite a lovely building, and not too far either from Logan Place, where Garden Lodge was located. It's well within walking distance of this location, so if you are here in Kensington, it's definitely worth a visit. So leaving Stafford Terrace behind, we're just going to take a right hand turn now back down onto High Street, Kensington, and see where Freddie and Roger had their stall, and conveniently located their mirrors so they could see into the ladies' dressing rooms partly. So on the way down to where Freddie and Roger had their stall, you'll come across this building, which is now Marks and Spencer, and this is where the famous Biba fashion store where Mary Austin worked in the 70s. You probably have, if you're into Queen at all, you'll know all about Mary Austin and where she worked and her interest in fashion and so on. It's an amazing building, and at the very top it has some like worker style, slightly communist looking, in, you know, not trying to be political or anything, but they look very unusual for a building of this era. Probably Art Deco, I'm not sure. I would probably put some comments in the video to say what exactly the building was designed by and who, but this is exactly where Biba was in the 70s. The dress outside of which Freddie and Roger had their stall, selling clothes and warding clothes and some other items. Obviously this is a brand new building. I don't know what was here before, but I can tell you something, this wasn't here in the 70s. So we're back here in Hyde Park, and if you recall from the original video, I did cover Hyde Park previously with regards to Queen's show that was a free show held here. I did some research and I found out that behind me is exactly where the stage would have been set up. So therefore, if we turn it right around, you have all that expanse behind us where the crowd would have been. It was a huge crowd, as you probably saw on the photos and videos that were released from that show. We still don't have an official release. I'm not sure if they have proper footage or recording from it, but it was quite an amazing show Freddie did. You Take My Breath Away, which at the time hadn't even been released. So So that's the research I've done so far. Right behind me would have been the stage, and we have the crowd expanding right in front of us, so plenty of space. So if you're interested, it is only about a 1 minute walk from right behind me, the lake and the cafe. If you know Hyde Park, the cafe at the corner of the lake, and Hyde Park Corner is just over here as well. So you can triangulate between Hyde Park Corner and the lake, and you get an idea exactly where we are in Hyde Park. So right behind me is the statue of Queen Victoria, which stands in front of Buckingham Palace. And if you watched any of the footage of Queen and Adam Lambert playing at the Jubilee celebrations, hello, how you doing? If you watched that footage, then you would have seen that the stage was set up pretty much around this area, and this way we have the Mall, the Royal Mall I think it's called, and so it's definitely worth coming down to this location, because you do have that huge long street where the parades, the royal parades, would have taken place, and obviously all the crowd were along here looking at the stage and Queen performing in front of Buckingham Palace. And also we had Brian May performing on the roof of Buckingham Palace earlier on in the 2000s, and Brian had to play on the top of the Buckingham Palace with very little audio cues, so he had to time it correctly because the delay was quite significant between the band that was down here and him on the roof. So that is certainly a location for you to come and visit. It's definitely something that you will be aware of if you've seen the footage. And obviously we have Buckingham Palace being a location where Brian and Roger would have received their New Year's honours, and Brian obviously was knighted and he becomes Sir Dr. Brian May. So that's another stop along this tour. So if you haven't already seen the original footage, I'm putting it at the end of this video as pretty much a bookend. So hope you enjoy, and this is an omnibus edition of the Queen Tour of London. Hello, today we are in London, and I'm going to be bringing you on a tour of Queen locations around London based on the interactive map that's on my website, Shane's Queen site. So we're going to start here in Hyde Park. Of course, you know, in September 1976, Queen played to about 150,000 people here in Hyde Park. So let's take a look at where I think the actual concert took place. So here in Hyde Park on the 18th of September 1976, Queen played to about 150,000 people, and it was called the Picnic at the Serpentine. And according to what I have seen on maps, and of course from looking at the current day maps, I believe that the concert actually played right behind me in an area that had quite a number of areas for stages to be built and so on. So I'll show you a map of my thoughts of where I think the actual concert took place. And right in front of me here is the actual Serpentine itself, which is actually quite a large lake, which includes areas for recreational boating and so on. But in 1976, Queen played an amazing concert here in Hyde Park, and Freddie actually played You Take My Breath Away, which actually hadn't been released at that stage. So a fantastic area for you to come. If you're in London, you should really come and see Hyde Park, and anybody from the UK or Ireland will probably know of the area already, but certainly this is a great place to come if you have any interest in taking a nice walk around London. Next stop on the trip is the Royal Albert Hall. And if you recognize this shot, it's actually where Brian and members of Smile stood in about 1969 when Smile actually played at the Royal Albert Hall. It's not exactly a Queen location, but certainly Brian May and members of Smile stood right here back before Queen. So here we are, another stop on the Queen Tour of London, and right behind me is Imperial College, where Brian was studying at the time when he joined Queen. And it was here on the 18th of July 1970 that Queen played their very first gig, which was actually in the Union Hall of Imperial College. To get here, you can get the South Kensington Museum's stop on the District and Circle lines, very, very close to the Royal Albert Hall as well, which is only about a 5-minute walk around the corner. And of course, one of the main reasons why anybody will come to London and do a Queen tour is, of course, to visit Garden Lodge, one Logan place that Freddie Mercury bought in 1986. At the height of Queen's success, he purchased this property for about $500,000 in cash. And of course, it has become synonymous with Freddie himself. And of course, when he died on the 24th of November 1991, the gate behind me at the entrance to Garden Lodge was actually a huge throng of flowers. People were here with candles. They stayed overnight and so on. And of course, you might have seen those pictures on YouTube or in the news at the time. So this is one Garden Lodge. You can see behind me the building is where Mary Austin now lives, apparently. And if you are here, it's about 13 minutes away from Gloucester Road Station, or about 10 minutes in a straight line from Earl's Court. I'm here in Earl's Court, and unfortunately this is all that remains of the iconic Earl's Court venue that Queen played on the 7th of June 1977. A few years ago, unfortunately, the building was demolished. I was actually in the building many times myself when the exhibitions were held for technology and so on. There was 3 or 4 during the year, which I would have attended when I was working for myself. And it's a fantastic venue inside, or it was. And it's very sad to see such an amazing venue. Of course, a Queen venue being razed to the ground. If you are coming here, unfortunately, this is all you will see of the iconic venue that Queen played in 1977. I'm here on Carnaby Street, where the Queen shop for Bohemian Rhapsody and also for the 50th anniversary opened in 2018 and also 2021 respectively. So unfortunately at this time the Queen store is now closed. This is February, and in January it got replaced by a Rolling Stones shop. So if you're into Rolling Stones, I presume there's a limited availability on that particular shop. So Carnaby Street is where the Bohemian Rhapsody launch was also taking place, where Brian May and the cast of Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, actually turned on all the lights and launched the Queen store. So behind me you can see the Rolling Stones shop that's currently open. So this is 143 Wardour Street in London, where Queen took pictures right here back in the early 70s. There's pictures of John and Freddie at the door of this building, and you can see the 2 guys and 3 guys standing right here. It's amazing to be right here looking at the place where this is at. So right behind me is Triton Studios, where Queen recorded some of their early material. And of course you can see the plaque on the wall there for David Bowie, but unfortunately no plaque to Queen. And if you want to find this, it's on the map on my website. It's 17 St Anne's Court, very close to where 143 Wardour Street was. It's only across the road actually, so quite a handy stop off if you want to get 2 Queen locations in one. So behind me is the Dominion Theatre, where We Will Rock You, the musical, was actually started. And back in the day when the We Will Rock You musical was on, there was actually a massive statue of Freddie up on the roof of the theatre. Of course, no longer there. The Dirty Dancing show is now on there, so not exactly any interest in myself. But again, it's quite an interesting location, because apparently there's still a Freddie Mercury room within the Dominion Theatre, which is used for special events and corporate functions. If you've enjoyed my Queen tour of London and all the sites that you had to see where Queen had some influence or some presence at some stage, then please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And we'll have tutorials and so on coming up very soon. Some more Queen quizzes and possibly some more podcasts. So lots to see, lots to do. So thank you very much for visiting Shane's Queen site. I'm Shane MacDonald, and I hope you have a fantastic day.